Starmer has been exposed, and there is no way he can cover this scandal up again, and now, he loses it as walls close in on the scandal. He of course has broken silence to say he was unaware of the social media posts this foreign extremist did, which surfaced on social media. But do you know the saddest part? Despite these extremists admitting he did all these things, Starmer and Downing Street have still stood their ground, that they won't deport him, and that he is still welcome to Britain. That says a lot, not so? So Starmer's job is to let foreign extremists and people who are threats to white people, who call British people dogs, and all sorts of names to be welcome to the UK. So you see he is an accomplice, and this is his end. He must be sacked immediately. Well, I will go through everything in this video, show you how Downing Street and Starmer responded to the calls to strip this extremist citizenship, and of course how Ben Habib and the Egyptian government exposed Starmer's lies of pretending not to know the whole story. But before we delve in, please hit the like and subscribe button for upcoming developments. Now, let's first take a look at Starmer's and Downing Street's response. Keir Starmer welcomes return of Egyptian activist who admitted hating white people. Sir Keir Starmer has welcomed the return of El Fattah after the controversial human rights activist spent years behind bars in an Egyptian prison. The Prime Minister, who was not aware of the 44-year-old's social media posts, appears to have ignored calls to deport Fattah after it revealed he had called for the murder of Zionists and voiced his hatred for white people. "We welcome the return of a British citizen unfairly detained abroad," a No 10 spokesman said. However, we have condemned the nature of these historic tweets and find them abhorrent. GB News understands the Home Office does not comment on individual cases. However, stripping someone of their British citizenship can only be used against terrorists, extremists, or someone who has gained citizenship by fraud. Shamima Begum, now 24, had her citizenship removed in 2019 after she left her home in Bethnal Green to join Islamic State. Mr. Fattah was granted British citizenship in 2021 following a concerted cross-party effort to free the 44-year-old from detainment. Sir Ian Duncan-Smith and Alicia Kearns this morning admitted they now regret their support for Mr. Fattah. However, the Prime Minister also publicly supported Mr. Fattah in 2022. In an exchange with then Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Sir Keir said, "He is a British citizen jailed for the crime of posting on social media and has been imprisoned in Egypt for most of the last 9 years."
And can I start by raising the case of Alaa Abdel Fattah?
Yes.
As the Prime Minister knows and has said, he's a British citizen, jailed for the crime of posting on social media and been imprisoned in Egypt for most of the last 9 years. He's been on hunger strike for the last 6 months. Now, the Prime Minister just said that he raised it with President Sisi. Can he tell us what progress he made in securing Alaa's release?
He has been on hunger strike for the last 6 months. The Prime Minister just said that he raised this case with President Sisi. What progress did he make in securing Alaa's release? However, last night saw Mr. Fattah face a fiery backlash after it emerged the Egyptian activist had made a series of anti-Semitic and anti-British social media posts. Mr. Fattah called for the murder of Zionists and admitted he seriously hates white people. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch and Reform UK leader Nigel Farage have both now urged Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood to look at whether Mr. Fattah's citizenship could be revoked to enable his swift removal from the UK. Mr. Farage said, "It should go without saying that anyone who possesses racist and anti-British views, such as those of Mr. El Fattah, should not be allowed into the UK." The Reform UK leader has since reported the UK citizen to counter-terror police. Meanwhile, Mrs. Badenoch added, "The comments he made on social media about violence against Jews, white people, and the police among others are disgusting and abhorrent. They were also anti-British." Speaking to GB News this morning, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp also called for Fattah's removal after labelling the activist a scumbag. Reform UK MP Danny Kruger also accused the government of prioritising either political virtue signalling or speeding up applications to clear the backlog, rather than putting the British people first. Labour MP Tom Rutland also opted to break ranks last night to put pressure on Sir Keir to take action. "It is unclear to me why it has been a priority for successive governments to bring this guy over here," Mr. Rutland said. What kind of vetting is routinely done in these cases? His tweets are impressive in how they manage to be vile in such a variety of ways. Mr. Fatter, who once described British people as dogs and monkeys and called for Londoners to burn Downing Street, was forced to issue a grovelling apology amid the furore. The 44-year-old said, "I am shaken that, just as I am being reunited with my family for the first time in 12 years, several historic tweets of mine have been republished and used to question and attack my integrity and values, escalating to calls for the revocation of my citizenship. Looking at the tweets now, the ones that were not completely twisted out of their meaning, I do understand how shocking and hurtful they are, and for that, I unequivocally apologize." Mr. Fatter was convicted in 2021 of spreading fake news in Egypt after sharing a Facebook post about torture in the country, following a trial that human rights groups said was grossly unfair. Now, let's listen to how Ben Habib exposed Starmer's lies on all these made-up stories that he knew nothing about all this.
I bet the Egyptian government can't believe its luck. A British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, prepared to lie in order to take off their hands the animal that is Allah Abdel Fattah. They came out yesterday, the Egyptian government did, absolutely contradicting Starmer when he said he was not aware of the vile messages put out by Fattah. Well, if Starmer was aware of those messages and he brought Fattah into this country, it absolutely proves what I have been saying for years, that Starmer is anti-British. Well, if Starmer was aware of those messages and he brought Fattah into this country, it absolutely proves what I have been saying for years, that Starmer is anti-British. He took in someone from Egypt who was safely incarcerated in Egypt, pressed the Egyptian government to have him released, and then took him into the United Kingdom, brought an anti-British, anti-white, anti-Semitic, racist, violent-minded individual into our country, putting us at risk. For what benefit? Absolutely none. The only beneficiary here is Egypt. Starmer must go.
So you can now see the lies Keir Starmer tells to British people every day. What are your thoughts on this? Share in the comment section below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for upcoming updates.